In a paradox worthy of a Russian novel, it may have been Saipov's good fortune that sent him spinning into a deadly trajectory as a terrorist on a lower Manhattan bike path. Interviewed in the family home in Tashkent, Uzbekistan, Mr. Saipov's mother, Mugadaz Saipova, says her son, almost on a lark, entered a lottery to win a U.S. green card. At the time, the 22-year-old was a studious boy with a degree in accounting. Unexpectedly, he won, and moved to the U.S. in 2010. By all accounts, he struggled to make his way in an unfamiliar land. It was on a visit last year to New Jersey when Ms. Saipova saw that her mother's boy had turned unhappy and tired. I saw with my own eyes how much he was working, how hard it was for him, Ms. Saipova said. Her son wanted to return to Uzbekistan and talked of saving money for the trip, she said. He said, "I'll save money, and we'll build a new house," she recalled. Mr. Saipov, 29 years old, now sits in a federal detention center in New York. Police say he killed 8 people and injured at least a dozen others on Tuesday by driving a rented truck down a crowded Manhattan bike path. On Wednesday, federal prosecutors charged him with terrorism and intentionally killing and harming people. They say he was inspired by watching Islamic State videos on his phone. And on Thursday, Islamic State claimed responsibility for the attack, calling Mr. Saipov one of its soldiers. Authorities have established no direct ties between Mr. Saipov and ISIS. Early stage in a news conference Friday, Deputy Commissioner of Intelligence and Counterterrorism John Miller said police are investigating how Mr. Saipov became radicalized. It's still in a very early stage, Mr. Miller said. "We have a lot of leads to go through, a lot of due diligence to do, going backwards to friends, associates, phone records, internet contacts to see if Mr. Saipov had any help in the attack," he said. Mr. Miller said investigators interviewed neighbors who claimed they saw 2 men with Mr. Saipov driving in a Home Depot rented truck in the days before the attack. He didn't specify whether those individuals were identified. In at least one regard, Mr. Saipov appears to share a trait with some other terrorist suspects who struck on U.S. soil. He failed to achieve personal and career ambitions in the U.S. and became embittered, say those who know him. Tamerlan Tsarnaev, the older of the 2 brothers who planted bombs at the Boston Marathon in 2013, had hoped to compete as a professional boxer before falling into extremism. The New York-born Omar Mateen, son of Afghan immigrants, killed 49 people in the Pulse nightclub in 2016 and had hopped from job to job before radicalizing online, authorities said. Ahmad Khan Rahimi, who was convicted last month in the 2016 bombing in Manhattan's Chelsea neighborhood, was also part of the Bridge Generation, a term used by Muslim leaders for young people struggling with their identities to be both Muslim and American. According to family members in Uzbekistan, Mr. Saipov had a happy and well-adjusted early life. His mother and father, Habibullo Saipov, ran a shop in the Bektepe Bazaar, a local shopping center that sells building supplies. The family now lives in Ijtepa, a residential area not far from the center of Tashkent. The family's home sits in a small courtyard, the gate flanked by tall rose bushes. In comparison with the Soviet-style high-rises in the capital, the neighborhood is quiet and nearly bucolic, with a small mosque in the center. Ms. Saipova said her son didn't drink or smoke, and didn't have time for the mosque as a young man. He finished a professional college in 2005, and studied at the Tashkent Financial Institute from 2005 to 2009. Family members in Tashkent showed certificates that attested to his good performance in school. It was a friend from the institute who persuaded Mr. Saipov to put in for a diversity green card via a lottery. He didn't even know what a green card was, she said. The U.S. Diversity Visa Lottery, known as a green card lottery, awards 50,000 visas to foreigners around the world annually. The program was created in 1990 as part of a border immigration bill, meant to broaden the pool of eligible immigrants beyond those who already had family members in the U.S. Just over 4,000 people from Uzbekistan won the diversity lottery for 2010, one of the top countries in that budget year, according to State Department statistics. He didn't even know what a green card was. Mugadaz Saipova, Mother of Saipov family members said the separation from Uzbekistan was difficult for the family, and his mother described an emotional send-off from Tashkent in 2010. "I didn't want to let him go," she said. "I'm still young," she recalls him answering. Mr. Saipov arrived in the US that year, briefly stayed in Cincinnati, and then spent about 3 years in the Cuyahoga Falls area outside Akron, Ohio. There, he married Tashkent.